Hello and welcome back to another in my live stream series. This is What I Do If, where I go over hypothetical situations that you may come across in your creator business and let you know how I would work through those things. If you were one of my clients, if I was working through it myself, a little bit of an insight into my brain, if you will. Very, very excited that I have my audio hopefully working today. I made a fatal flaw. In fact, I've been making this fatal flaw for months without even realizing that when I was turning my microphone on, it was not connecting up to my camera. However, that is all corrected now. So hopefully the audio is going to sound significantly better from now on in. So in case you don't know who I am, I'm Sue McLachlan from the Unicorn Advisory, and I've decided to start this live stream series, a daily live video where I'm talking about different situations. And today I'm going through something that comes up, a lot of the time. I've had this trouble myself recently. What do you do if you only have an hour a day to work on your business? Now, when I say an hour a day, maybe it's 2 hours a day, maybe it's half an hour a day. But basically, when you're in a season of not having a lot of time to work on your creator business, which can sometimes mean that you end up feeling like you're not doing anything, you're not getting ahead. So this is what I would do if I only had an hour a day to work on my business. Now, in this situation, I say this as what I suggest you to do. I am not always good at doing this myself in the past. In fact, I've done it far too much. So this is as much a lesson and a reminder for myself as it is to potentially help you. But if I only had an hour a day or very limited time to work on my business, I would not waste it. It is so easy, especially when you're feeling stretched, to end up spending your time on the stuff that just does not matter. Fapping around on social media, like just doom scrolling, playing with your website. This is another productive procrastination technique that a lot of people fall into. Playing with your colors and your fonts and your image sizing, button sizes. Like, do I have rounded corners or square corners on my buttons? Like, oh, my images aren't lining up. All things that at the end of the day just don't matter, and they don't make a difference when it comes to the core tenet of running a business. The goal of running a business, whether you're a creator, whether you're heart-centered, whether you are trying to earn your first Lamborghini, the core thing you need to do is make money. That's the difference between a business and a hobby. So you've got to do things that are going to move the needle towards you making money and bringing in revenue for your business. Now, I'm just going to give you a little reminder. I often remind people of this, and I often, come back to it myself as, when you are spending all that time on the things that don't matter on your website. Brendan Burchard is the top Kajabi creator. I was at Kajabi Hero Live last year when he was presented with his $100 million award. He's made $100 million on Kajabi. And do you know what? You go to his website, he is using stock standard Kajabi templates. He doesn't even change the colors and fonts. He just uses them as they are. Because, that stuff doesn't matter. What matters is getting out there, selling, letting people know about your products, your services, and how those are going to benefit them. It is not the colors. It is not the design. None of that at the end of the day really matters. Sure, it might make you feel better. It may make you feel like you've got a more elevated presence, et cetera, et cetera. But, if someone can make $100 million using plain templates that they don't even change the formatting on, like I look at some of his pages, he has the Kajabi blue, like the old Kajabi blue that doesn't even exist anymore because that was the color on the pages. So it cracks me up. Images aren't even the same size. If he can do it, you can do it too. So let's get on track. Let's think about what these things are that you need to do if you want to move your business forward. Now, I have been thinking about how to actually kind of formulate this into an idea or a concept that I and hopefully you can remember, because I've spent a lot of time where I haven't had energy and I've been caught up in but I've got to do something on social media and I've got 2,000 unanswered emails and all the stuff that's very easy to get bogged down in, which should be done after you do the core things that are actually going to move your business forward. But those core things are something that you need to do, whether you have a teeny tiny business that's barely getting off the ground, or you are at, multi 6-7 figure level. This is the things that you have to continually keep doing in your business every day, every week, every month as you continue to be in business. So use ChatGPT to help me come up with a funky name, and I'm calling it the Creator Growth Loop. If I was organized, I'd have a lovely little visual, but imagine an infinity circle, a loop, keeps going around. It doesn't stop. It just goes forever. On one side, we have the things that are about you being seen. This is visibility. This is growing your list, growing your audience, getting in front of people so people know you exist. On the other side, you've got create value. So imagine, we're going around, we've got being seen, being visible, growing your audience, creating value. This is your offers. This is the things that you sell. This is your products, your services, all things that sort of come under the umbrella of the value that you are putting out there into the world that brings value back to you. And then in the middle, imagine, we're going around in our infinity circle. In the middle, we have got make offers. You can be seen, you can have a huge audience, you can have the best products in the world, but if you are not selling them and you're not making offers to people and inviting them to buy, then you are not going to bring in any revenue. And the thing is about all these things, these three kind of elements of your business, is that they work in harmony together. And if you overvalue one of them, and you spend a lot of time, for example, building products, you build out these incredible products, you spend months, 12 months, 6 months building things like, creating this value, which is awesome and amazing, but you under leverage and you under put your time into visibility, being seen, and making offers, you're not going to generate any revenue. You need to have all three things in balance. And if you're making offers, but you don't have anything to offer, if you've got one teeny tiny offer, and maybe you are putting a lot of effort into building the things, but you don't have a big audience, you don't have a lot of visibility, then you're going to have a really hard time making money because you don't have anyone to sell them to. You've got to do all three of things. And, to be really effective, you've got to do them at a kind of even pace. And then they keep just layering. Like, imagine that you are that pen, like I'm sure you've probably seen the visual. I'm going to try and find it and see if I can link it somewhere, where it's like a pen that just sort of keeps going off the page and it just goes around and around. It just makes this thicker and thicker sort of infinity loop that just goes forever. That's what you're doing. It's not something that you do for a bit and then stop. You got to keep working on all three of them. So if you only have a really, really limited amount of time, it's important to not go all in on one part of that, to keep building up all three of them. You need sustainability. You need to be keeping things in motion. And if you've got that other fluffy stuff, do it outside. Like, set yourself a goal to do these three most important things first. Now, you got some options depending on how much time and how much energy that you have available. So if, say, you literally have an hour a day, probably what I would do is I would split that hour up into one day, for example, be seen. Concentrate on your visibility, growing your list, getting in front of different audiences, new audiences, creating, SEO-driven content, things that are going to help you get discovered. Then the next day, work on your creating value, on your offers, like creating an offer if you don't have it, or potentially improving an offer, or adding things that you could, sell as an order bump, like a new little offer that can work in conjunction, things to kind of build out the value, the things that you can sell. And then on the next day, you can work on making offers, doing things that are actually going to sell the offers, things that will help you put your products in front of people and ask them to buy, whether that is an email sequence, whether that's posting on social media with an actual strategic post, not just posting, for visibility's sake. There's two different, types of content that you want to be doing. It's like the general engagement and the growing of your audience, the being seen part, and then there's the actual making offers part. And it's important that you do both. And then you can just keep cycling through that. And say, for example, if you do have 5 days a week and 5 hours, then you could spend the first 3 days doing one of each, and the next 2 days pick the two most important. If you do not have products yet, then spend one of those days working on your product piece. If you've only got a tiny audience, spend the other day working on the visibility piece. And then, when you come back to it the next week, you could swap that out a little bit. So just making sure that you're giving even attention to all of them. Now, it depends on, how you like to work, whether you might want to do one thing each day. For some people, if you're like, all right, this is my side hustle, I'm building it up. I've got like 3 months to get this thing off the ground, and I've got an hour or two each day that I can work on it. That's it. Maybe you want to block that time into weeks. So you have like targeted weeks. So, week 1 in your cycle could be visibility. So all the things around creating, growing your list, getting in front of people, etc. And then the next week is on the creating value, your products, and then the third week is on making offers and actually selling. Putting things into place to sell and get your products out there into the world, perhaps creating funnels, evergreen funnels, planning out a launch and actually getting the assets together so that you can do a launch. Whatever it is that you want to do, you can divide it up. And, if you've got a few hours a day, maybe it's not that you don't have lots of time. Maybe you've got like 2 or 3 hours a day. You just don't have a full day. Then perhaps you can cycle through and say 3 hours a day, do spend 1 hour doing each of those things. Now, one of the things is what do you actually do? Like, I've given you some examples. They're very, very loose and maybe relevant to you, maybe not. Every business is going to be different of what those specific things are that you are trying to achieve. But when time is tight, it is really, really important that you know exactly what you're going to do. It's not just like, oh, I'm going to do stuff on visibility today. I want to be seen. It's about what specifically is going to help you be seen. What tasks specifically are going to help you create value, and what tasks specifically are going to help you make offers. So having those pre-decided and knowing what those things are means that perhaps a 2-minute task at the end of each day could be, all right, what are the tasks I'm going to work on tomorrow? Or it could be a 2-minute task at the start of the day. Just make sure it's 2 minutes and make sure you don't spend half an hour of your hour planning what you are going to do. So something that could be really helpful, you can get ChatGPT to help you with this for sure, is create a list of all the tasks that are going to move you forward in those 3 separate areas. So if you have a list of what is going to help you be seen, what are specific tasks for your business, for the type of things that you like to do, there is no point in going, all right, I'm going to create YouTube videos if you hate video. It's got to be the things that suit you, your personality, etc. What are the specific tasks that are going to help you create value, and what will help you make offers? Now, if energy is a bit of a problem, like if that's the thing that's making you have limited time, then you could split those tasks into low energy and high energy tasks. But just make sure there are things on there on your list that aren't like projects. Make sure it's task-based, things that will take you an hour or less to complete, so that every day you feel like you are taking action, because that can be the problem when you've got limited time. It feels like you're not actually doing anything. You're not making, you're not moving forward. You're not actually achieving your goals. And this sort of, I want to make money off my online business can be this forever thing that just doesn't feel like it's happening. So, be realistic about what you can achieve and make sure that you're doing things where it's really task-based. There is nothing better than the dopamine hit of ticking a box off. Personally, I am old school. I have my list of have my colored Post-it notes, and I put Post-it notes up on the wall, and I love screwing them up into a ball and being like, yes, that thing is done. And it helps give that tangible feeling to like, okay, I achieved something, even though I feel like I'm not achieving as much as I want to right now. So I spent a little bit of time with Chad this morning creating a list, and ChatGPT very thankfully put it into a lovely little PDF for me. So that is available at theunicornadvisory.com/this. That is our replay page. Please note, I have renamed the replay page to something that makes more sense. So theunicornadvisory.com/this, THIS, and you'll see an option to download that. But I would suggest using that as a starting point to give you some ideas, and just talk to ChatGPT, put in, say, hey, I want to come up with some ideas of tasks that I can do to move my business forward in the area of making offers. These are my offers. These are the products that I've already got available. What are some things that I could do each day that take me 1 hour or less? I want to create at least 50 tasks, for example. And then you will get a list of things. So what you could do in that little 2-minute planning session is go to that list, pick some things off the list, and then don't have this big list of 50 or 100 potential things. Just have 2 or 3 things. If you're in a very low energy day, pick the 5-minute tasks so you get the dopamine hit. So you're like, okay, even though I haven't got much to give today to myself, to the business, whatever, I'm still moving forward. So you give yourself that sense of momentum and you keep moving forward. But you do it across all three areas. You gotta get that loop happening so that you're not over leveraging on one area and not getting to the point where your business is going to be making you revenue, bringing in money, because that is the point. I am certainly not someone who is motivated by money. I don't have any goals of becoming a trillionaire. However, bringing in money is what you need to do to survive, to grow, to be able to help people. So it's important that your business is able to support you in that way. As well, I've got something else that can help you. In 2023, I created a paid newsletter called Make More Offers. However, about probably 8 weeks into that, I stopped that and I had horrific burnout, didn't do anything for 6 months. So that actually never saw the light of day. I refunded everyone who had paid for the product, but it's still sitting there and it is insanely helpful. So I have decided that if that is something that will help you, just go to theunicornadvisory.com/this, but do it maybe in about half an hour because I connected it up before this and I just remembered I forgot to change the price back to $0. So go and do that. I'll change the price to $0 and you can access to that for free. So the first part of that was literally 23 ways, because it was 2023, that you can make more offers. And it was the type of things that, you can do these simple little tasks and you can do them over and over again. So that might give you an idea if you are stuck for what to do in the make more offers category, because that is literally the whole purpose of that. Maybe I'll bring it back one day. We'll see how I go. But for now, I did it. The work's there. You might as well get the benefit of it if you are watching this. So go and get yourself Make More Offers. Download that sheet, but make it a goal to do that for yourself. So you've got something where it's like your actual specific tasks for your business. But remember that, energy is something important. So when you're picking those things, pick the things that day. So, whether you do it the day before or the day of, pick things that are going to suit your energy level that day so that you are actually going to achieve them. I cannot underestimate or overestimate, I don't know which one it is. It's just critical that you do those things that help you feel like you're making progress. You've got to tick things off. You can't have things that are, like going from one day to the next and bleeding over and feeling like you're never getting finished, because when you've got limited time, that's the stuff that gets you feeling bogged down and like maybe it's not worth it. So break tasks up if you need to and make sure that the tasks that you're choosing are appropriate for your energy level that day. For example, these live streams, I'm on a semi-limited energy thing at the moment. This takes a lot of energy, and so after it, I got to allow time in my schedule to go and like pretty much lie in my bed and do nothing because it takes it out of me. So if I don't schedule that time in, I might think, oh, well, the live stream will take me, an hour to do. But really, I've got to allow at least sort of 2, maybe 2.5 hours out of my day because of the time that it takes me to come down afterwards. And it's a very high energy task. So if you're in a low energy time, doing something like this probably isn't the best thing. Maybe it's those little short things that you could do, like a post on Threads or sending out an email or just doing something short and manageable. So make sure that you're picking things that aren't going to leave you feeling like, I wish I'd got that done. Like you want to be making this really positive for yourself, feeling like you are achieving things and moving forward. So don't force things when you're not feeling it yourself, and don't force things because you see other people doing it and you go, oh, they're doing that, I should do that too. Honor yourself and honor where you are in your journey and what you've got the capacity for, because it's not always going to be like that potentially, and you'll have up and down days as well potentially. So pick the things that are going to help you keep moving. And also, I've said this before 1,000 times and I'll keep saying it again. Don't do things just because other people say you should. If you're following some strategy that you have got from another online entrepreneur, maybe even from me, you don't have to do everything that they say you should if it is not vibing, if it is not giving you energy and it is not making you feel good. You're the one who runs your business. You get to choose what you spend your time on. But yeah, just make sure that, even if it's imperfect, that you're doing those actions and you're doing them evenly. So I just thought I'd talk a little bit about productive procrastination. I feel like I'm an expert. If there was an Olympic level sport in productive procrastination, I would do it. I've been like, our Google Drive folder, not our Google Drive, we have it on Microsoft, but our Explorer is a mess. We should reorganize the folders so things are easier to find. Canva's a mess. Yeah, it's a mess. Like Kajabi, our Kajabi system is a complete mess. There's so much old stuff in there, so many things that I could do to improve it, but none of that stuff, it might save little micro amounts of time, but that kind of stuff is not going to make you more money. So be really clear about that procrastination. Like, if you're like, oh, I saw someone was looking at a new course platform, maybe I should move my courses to a new platform. That is productive procrastination. Sure, maybe it'll be better, but you need to do it alongside those other things. So if you're in a season of low energy, not the time to do it. Maybe this isn't the time to be taking courses and learning and getting coaching if you don't have a lot of energy. Maybe this is the time to work on your business and then do that later. So, all of those things are fantastic. I love learning. I've got thousands probably of courses, but where I have limited time, I've got to use that in the wisest possible way. And usually learning is one of those things that I find really easily falls into productive procrastination. If you actually do an audit on yourself on how much time you've spent learning from other people rather than actually putting that into action and working on your business, it can sometimes be, a little bit scary. It's one of the reasons why I love learning off podcasts, because then I can, multitask. And if I'm out for a walk, I can learn as I walk. Like look at things like that you can do to build into your day so that you are spending those core limited working hours doing the things that matter. And, remember that doing little things, even if you feel like it's not a lot, adds up. If you worked 1 hour a day, that is 20 hours a month that you are doing things towards your business. 20 hours can give you a lot if it's really strategic and focused. It is also really easy to spend 20 hours scrolling through Instagram, liking people's posts, faffing about with colors on and going, oh, like I've seen that website, that looks nice. Maybe I should change my, my colors or my style, or, spending 2 hours looking for the perfect Google font, or not Google font, like, font on Creative Market, or whatever those things are that don't actually move the needle. That is very, very easy to fill those 20 hours. My guilty pleasure is, am I the asshole on Reddit? I do need to, look at blocking myself potentially. The other thing that I did in my low energy time, and I felt almost guilty about it, which is kind of weird, is I removed myself from almost every email list that I was on. Like I unsubscribed from a heap of stuff. I deleted social media apps off my phone. As much as I want to be disciplined and I want to just spend 5 or 10 minutes, I just can't do it. I don't know what it is. I am, just get sucked into that vortex. Thread that I've tried to put it back on my phone 4 or 5 times, very unsuccessful, which means I don't really post a lot either, but I had to be at peace with that. I was like, oh, I should be showing up. But every time I did, I would spend 2 minutes showing up and then 2 hours getting sucked into, conversations about stuff that wasn't helping me and wasn't moving the business forward. And then all my energy and time would be gone. So if you need to do that, it's not dramatic. Do the things that matter. Also, outsourcing. I just wanted to touch on this as well. If you are outsourcing some part of this, so say you've got, very limited time, but maybe you have the budget for outsourcing, just make sure that it's still being, really even across your whole business. For example, if you are outsourcing someone to help you putting your course together and editing your course videos, that is then very heavily weighted towards that. So, your time should be spent then managing that. So if it's, your hour a day, but you've still got to, equally weight those other things. So make sure that making sales, visibility, and growing your audience. You need an audience to sell things to. You can create the best course in the world, but if you've got no one to sell it to and you're not actually selling it to them because you don't have those systems in place and you're not strategically spending your time making the offers, outsourcing may not help you move forward. It may not help you make money. And especially when you're spending money to make money, it's important. So make sure that when you are choosing what you outsource, it's either spread evenly. So your time is then, instead of doing the things, it's spent managing the people doing the things. Or if you're outsourcing in one area, then you're then freeing up your attention to really focus on the other areas. So you're keeping that loop going and you're keeping those 3 pillars, fairly even. All right. I think that is it. If you do have any questions, let me know. Erica, hello. Yes, Erica says she likes the idea of spending the last 2 minutes planning on what we'll do the next day. And, that has been super helpful, even as I've been doing this series. And, with the tools that we have, like, it feels kind of weird talking to ChatGPT, but when I am choosing the next day's topic for this series, then it gives me time to brain dump my ideas into ChatGPT. So I'm coming into these live streams with, my thoughts turned from this random kind of, brain dump of ideas into a reasonably organized list of things that I want to talk about. So definitely value in planning that out for your next day. So thank you so much for joining me. Tomorrow, we are going to be talking about, what am I doing tomorrow? Oh my gosh, I didn't write it down, but I've got, hang on. I did, okay. Now I can't remember what I have for tomorrow. What was that, Maya? Okay, what would I do if I didn't want to be too salesy? That is my task. I wrote tomorrow on my list, but then never actually typed it in and got everything prepared for tomorrow. So tomorrow I'm going to be talking about what would I do if I didn't want to be too salesy. No one wants to be salesy, but you got to sell. So I'm going to go through that. So you can get past the not being too salesy, and you can sell and you can create a beautiful business that is going to be scalable and sustainable and hopefully damn fun as well. Thank you for joining me, Sue from the Unicorn Advisory. I will see you again tomorrow on This Is What I'd Do If. Bye for now.